The UMass Boston Beacons look to salvage a 2-2 split at this weekend's Invitational. To do that, they'll need to overcome Roger Williams University in this, the finale of our volleyball doubleheader. That's up next, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Welcome back to Beaconville, everybody. I am John Skudris. It's been a tough weekend for both the Beacons and the Hawks of Roger Williams. UMass has lost 2 straight matches, including a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Bowdoin College earlier today. Meanwhile, the Hawks this invitational for the Hawks must have felt more like an invite to their own funeral, being swept in straight sets by Augsburg and Bowdoin yesterday before falling in 5 sets moments ago to Clark University. Despite their lack of success this afternoon, UMass saw solid performances by Julia Murphy and Eileen Shee. That tightened the play in their match with the Polar Bears as that one progressed. Victories are not easy to come by against top competition like Bowdoin. Roger Williams might be a matchup more suited to the Beacons' strengths, and they'll hope to salvage a second victory this weekend, coming up in just a few minutes. For the Hawks, losing both matches 3-0 yesterday cast a shadow over what had been a tremendous month for Danielle Soublier's squad. The Hawks came into this weekend winners of 7 of their last 8. They're now left searching for answers on a Saturday in Boston, Massachusetts. The answers may be found in the talents of Elizabeth Flaherty and Kristen Boyer, who sit atop the team in kills entering the weekend. Regardless of what happens, this promises to be a spectacular matchup between 2 very talented regional foes. And we take a look at one of the top talents for the Beacons right there. That is number 11, Eileen Shee, as she is our player to watch here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network pregame show. Eileen, just a freshman from San Francisco, California. She is playing well beyond her years, leading UMB and all LEC freshmen with her 223 kills and 2.72 kills per set. She's second on the team with 208 digs to show that she's not just an offensive performer, and a team-high 7 double-doubles continues to progress her freshman campaign in the right direction for Terry Condon's phenomenal young freshman. So Eileen Shee is somebody to keep an eye on in this one. Julia Murphy was our player to watch in Game 1, and she came through with flying colors. We'll hope that this one mimics that performance from earlier this afternoon. We take a look at the all-time series between these 2 foes, and Roger Williams and UMass Boston have had a very decorated history. The Beacons have been really the dominated one by Roger Williams, the submissive, if you will, as Roger Williams leads the series 22-9. The last Beacons win was 3-1 back on November 16th, 2013. And in the last meeting over a year ago today, Roger Williams swept the Beacons right on out of here 3-0 on October 11th of last year. In that match, Nicole Weber had 36 assists in a 3-set win. My second grade math tells me that's 12 assists per set, which is pretty impressive considering that's nearly half her team's points. So a very impressive performance last time out for Nicole Weber and Roger Williams. We'll see if history repeats itself this afternoon, even if the Hawks have lost 3 consecutive matches. Before we continue on to a break here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network pregame show, let's take a look at the Beacons matchups yesterday here in the UMass Boston Invitational, which included a victory over Clark and a defeat at the hands of Augsburg. So you saw one Beacons victory and one Beacons defeat in those highlights. Earlier today, the Beacons succumbed to Bowdoin 3-0 in a match that saw the Polar Bears just dominate early on and then hold on for their 11th sweep in their last 15 matches. Meanwhile, these two teams come into this one, well, off to a bit of an inauspicious start this year for UMass Boston and a inauspicious beginning for Roger Williams as we take a look at the on-the-year statistics for both of these squads. Roger Williams over the last couple of weeks has seen their wins and their numbers to go with it pick up. However, the Beacons are still outnumbering them in kills per set as well as hitting percentage and assists per set. Numbers-wise, the Beacons look like the better team in almost every statistical category besides in the service area. However, their roster doesn't show it. Now, whether or not that is the more staunch competition or just bad luck of the draw, we'll find out this afternoon as these two teams face off for the first time since October 11th of last year. Well, the team leaders for each of these squads, I've mentioned a couple of them already here on the pregame show. For UMass Boston, our player to watch has been the player to watch all season. The freshman from San Francisco, Eileen Shee, leads the way for UMass Boston in kills. Julia Murphy, who was our player to watch earlier today, I echoed her praises in her performance in that defeat to Bowdoin. She has been spectacular all year, leading the team in hitting percentage and blocks. A two-way specialist for the junior. Meanwhile, Pepper Baker leads the way in assists, and Elizabeth Glavin dominates in digs and aces for the Beacons. And, of course, I mentioned Flaherty as somebody to keep an eye on. How about Molly Quilty? Number 19 for the Hawks of Roger Williams, leads the way in both hits and hitting percentage as well as blocks. And keep an eye, of course, on Abby Gordon as well, the best in the service area. 38 aces already for Abby Gordon, a Glastonbury, Connecticut native. The junior will look to keep her talents on the rise this afternoon. So as we get set for the opening service, let's take a look at the coaches for each of these squads. The freshman coach for Roger Williams in her first year at the helm, it is walking across your screen right there, Danielle Soublier. She is in her first season and one of the 30 under 30 honorees here in 2015. A 14-11 record this year with the Hawks. She's 26-26 overall on her coaching career, which I'm sure will have many years to come in what should only be the beginning of an illustrious career. Meanwhile, for the Beacons, speaking of illustrious careers, Terry Condon continues what has been a spectacular one here on Beaconville. She continues to tutor and bring new graces to these young female athletes here on Beaconville, as Terry Condon in her 11th season already an ABCA Hall of Fame inductee. 225 wins, got her 119th defeat earlier today. Her overall record speaks for itself. Over 415 victories for Terry Condon. She's joined by Mike Houlihan to your right on your screen, her left, as he brings his tremendous talents as well. If the Beacons win, we might be able to speak to Mike after the game where he'll share his thoughts on how the Beacons season has gone so far. So those are the skippers between these two clubs, and the Beacons and the Hawks will hope to continue what has been an exciting UMass Boston Invitational. That's up next, right after this break on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Roger Williams University came into this tournament 14-8 on the season, having just lost last week to Babson College. Meanwhile, they have lost 3 consecutive here in this tournament and have fallen to 14-11. And this is their starting lineup that is going to be trotted out there by Danielle Soublier. We take a look at the lineup for the Hawks of RWU. Jocelyn Benson and Kristen Neff begin as setters. They're joined by Maria Battis at that position. The outside hitters are Megan Smith and Kristen Boyer, and they are joined by Cassandra Minogue and Molly Quilty. So UMass Boston gets set to take on the visiting squad from Roger Williams University in Bristol, Rhode Island. We'll get an opportunity for the UMass Boston starters to introduce themselves right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Swansea, Massachusetts, and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Julia Murphy. I'm a junior from Canton, Massachusetts.
Hi, my name is Haley Diedrich, and I'm a freshman from Canton, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shee, freshman from San Francisco, California.
I'm Elizabeth Glavin, junior from Edina, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Colleen Cohen. I'm a junior from Centerville, Massachusetts.
The players shake hands underneath the net as we are just about set to get this one underway. A little over a 30-minute delay from the planned start of this match because Roger Williams had to finish up their 5-set defeat at the hands of Clark University. That one ended around 3:05, and so needed some time to get a snack and then get ready to go, and now we are set to go. UMass Boston wearing their black uniforms, Roger Williams in their typical blue. They have the white numbers as well as the gold initials of RWU on their back. We told you their starters moments ago. For the Beacons, starting today, it'll be that typical lineup that Terry Condon likes to trot out. You heard them introduce themselves. Pepper Baker will start as she will be the opening service here in this afternoon's conclusion of the UMass Boston Beacons Invitational. Pepper's out there along with Haley Diedrich and Elizabeth Glavin, the team's libero. Out front right now are Eileen Shee, left to right, with Bree Souza and Colleen Cohen, the trees up front, performing their skills as blockers. And as the Roger Williams Hawks are ready to go, so too are we. The UMass Boston Beacons and the Hawks of Roger Williams conclude the UMass Boston Beacons Invitational this afternoon. Pepper Baker ready to go. She led the team in aces most of the year. She's been usurped by Elizabeth Glavin, but still one of the best in the business when it comes to successful service as she delivers the opening serve. Dug out there on a smart play by Batas. Meanwhile, the Beacons playing a little defense off the spike from Boyer. Block attempt there, and credit that where credit is due. The UMass Boston Beacons, Elizabeth Glavin gets it there. She was joined by Bree Souza up front, dropping that one right in front of Cassandra Minogue, and it is 1-0 UMass Boston early on. Pepper Baker's service kept alive on a dig attempt. Meanwhile, this one dumped right in front by Minogue. The junior from Manorville, New York, delivers there, and it's 1-1 early on. Quick substitution for Sublier as entering in the game to serve will be Sarah McAniff, a Reading, Connecticut native. Number 7 in blue, overhand service, and that one ate Haley Diedrich alive as she could not get down low enough to dig that one out, and an early lead here for the Hawks of Roger Williams. Another opportunity and a good dig there by Glavin. She will just dump it over, dug out by the libero for RWU. Spike attempt there from Neff is dug out. Pepper Baker and Diedrich in the area, and UMass Boston gets credit on the deflection as the Beacons even it up 2-2. Eileen Shee is our player to watch today. She is one of the best in the business when it comes to freshmen in the Little East Conference. She'll get a chance for her first service. Strong serve and an ace for UMass Boston as Eileen Shee delivers right off the outstretched forearm of Maria Bates, a sophomore from Merrick, New York. And the home team out in front 3-2. Another serve right to Bates as this one's dug out, and a chance for the Beacons on defense. Glavin digs out the attempt by Boyer. Good dig there by Bates as here is going to be Diedrich setting up Baker by way of Cohen, and Cohen can't get that one past the dig attempt. Kept alive on a good volley for both of these squads. Baker for Diedrich's spike attempt, and that one will shine through as unable to keep it alive was Jocelyn Benson. UMass Boston extends their lead, and Eileen Shee back in the service area. That one past the dig attempt. Eileen, overhand, rises up to serve this one over. It's kept alive on the dig. Back towards the near side, towards the scorer's table, and a great block from Souza off the initial spike by Boyer. And just like that, the Beacons continuing to extend their lead early on. They'd like nothing more than a quick and painless domination of Roger Williams after what was the exact opposite earlier today at the hands of Bowdoin. Boyer sends it over. Here's Diedrich keeping this one alive. Oh, and that's a tough setup. Unable to set up Boyer was Nikki Felici, and that results in an unfortunate set of events for Roger Williams and another point for UMass Boston. She is ready. Ooh, just a little bit too much on that one. She wasn't able to elevate enough on the serve. And despite what was impressive power, just not enough underneath it to get it over the net. And they'll turn possession back over to Roger Williams. The service will come from Cassandra Minogue, the Manorville native, ready to go. Right-handed service over to She. Digs this one out for Pepper Baker. Baker right back for Eileen, and a powerful blast this time by Eileen is a little too strong again as this one comes out. It's 6-4, UMass Boston. Sarah McAniff stands right out in front of Minogue, who sends this one towards the right side of the court, dug out there. And this one from Colleen Cohen is perfect. Pinpoint precision accuracy for 16 in black as she gets the kill. It's 7-4 UMass Boston, and a chance for Bree Souza to take a seat for Julia Murphy. You don't lose much defensive ability when you bring Murphy in. You gain a little bit offensively as this one comes tailing back towards the bleachers in front of us. And despite a solid effort there from Sarah McAniff, it does result in a Beacons point, and they'll go up 8-4, doubling up the visitors from Bristol, Rhode Island. Here's the team's leader in aces, Elizabeth Glavin, getting set to go. And this time she almost got another one. Good dig there by Batas as this one comes back towards the near side, towards the benches. Quick spike attempt there on the setup by Baker by Murphy, but it's blocked well. And this one is McAniff sending it right into the net, and the Beacons extend their early advantage 9-4. I mentioned the troubles for Roger Williams this tournament. They were swept in 3 sets in both their matches yesterday, as this one is a nice deceptive move by Sarah McAniff as she looked like she was rising atop to send in a powerful blast of a spike, and instead she pulls back on it and is able to get it right out in front of Glavin. It's 9-5. Quick substitution as Victoria Caruso enters the game, a Yonkers native. One of the few left-handed servers as she sends this one towards Glavin. There's Murphy trying to spike it in. Good job by Julia. Kept alive on a good defensive play there by Batas, and now we get an opportunity to see Colleen Cohen's ability out front. Unfortunately for the Beacons, it was blocked, and that's not going to help UMass Boston out as it is credited for the visiting Hawks. They'll get another opportunity, trailing by 3. Service for Roger Williams. Here's Cohen with a spike, deflected partially by Benson. She keeps it alive, and that seemed like too many touches, but the Beacons may have deflected it. Glavin keeps it alive on a dig on the far side. Diedrich's spike attempt kept up by Batas, and now an opportunity for McAniff to just try to fingertip that one over the net, but she didn't get enough on it, and it results in a kill for the Beacons as they get another point, up 10-6. Meanwhile, taking a seat will be Colleen Cohen. She'll be replaced out there by Michaela Kianko, the Clearwater native, and a sophomore. Michaela ready to go. Service towards the right of the court. Dug out there by Batas as this one's kept alive momentarily on a smart play by Quilty, who leads the team in kills. And now a spike by Murphy, and nobody's going to get that one. She pounded that one home. And the Beacons have extended their lead to 11-6. So UMass Boston, at the first stoppage of play for a timeout for Roger Williams, leads by 5 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. We'll be back after this.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
An early advantage here in set number 1 for the UMass Boston Beacons. Julia Murphy credited with the last kill before this timeout, number 6 in black. In the middle of your screen, the Beacons on the season haven't gotten off to a lot of good starts, although things have picked up over the last couple of weeks after a very slow start for a young team. Terry Condon and Mike Houlihan have gotten this one going, and despite losing 2 of their first 3 matches in this invitational, they have an opportunity to salvage a split and walk out of this with their heads held high. As you'll see Kianko with an opportunity to serve out of the timeout. Same squad out there for the Beacons as she sends this one over to be dug out by Batas, and both players dive into it. They almost kept that alive, that being Kianko and Glavin. But credit where credit is due, a good play by the libero for the Hawks as they get credit for the kill there. It's 11-7. And now the towering figure of Molly Quilty, the tallest player in this tournament at 6'4" tall, is right there in the middle, and there's nothing that those 6'4" body could do on that one. A great play by Haley Diedrich, getting that one between the trees, and the Beacons are up 12-7. Been so impressed not only with Eileen Shee, but with Haley Diedrich, both defensively and offensively. These freshmen have come in and not missed a beat as Haley can't get to that one on a great play made there by Batas as Maria delivers again, the sophomore from Merrick, New York, and now she'll get a chance to serve. Maria ready to go. She sends it towards Kianko. She keeps it alive. Pepper Baker goes to Murphy. A little bit too much on that one. And much like we saw earlier on this afternoon in game 1 of this doubleheader, timeouts really doing its work as they see momentum shift back towards the Hawks. That service by Maria gets over as this spike attempt from Shee is partially blocked. That's going to be trouble as a great job by the libero to keep it alive. Here's a spike from Murphy, and Julia, with unbelievable precision, continues to dominate out front as she sends another kill towards Roger Williams, and the Hawks right now are losing some steam. The Beacons looking to shine a light to victory this afternoon, up by 4. This service from Murphy hits the basketball net. Meanwhile, that assisted the Beacons a little bit. That'll help the Beacons a lot more as Pepper Baker with a perfect block out in front, and she'll get credit on that one. It's 14-9. UMass Boston extending their lead to 5. That is their largest lead of this set. As Murphy delivers yet again from the service area, and this time it's an error on Julia Murphy as she will take a seat for Elizabeth Glavin. And the service will head back towards the Hawks. Getting set to take this one is Jocelyn Benson. Jocelyn, a far way from home, a Phoenix, Arizona native, as she looks to bring the heat on that one. It's kept alive on a dig by Glavin, and as Eileen Shee rises up, the Beacons will get the point as this one blocked into the netting. UMass Boston goes back up by 5, 15-10. Pepper Baker back there to serve. As taking a seat is Kianko. She's replaced once again by Bree Souza. It's Souza, Cohen, Diedrich, Glavin, Shee, and the service star right now is Pepper Baker. As this one's dug out, Pepper is able to keep it alive, and then tipping that one back towards the Beacons' end on a smart play there was Minogue, and Cassandra will get credit for a kill. It's 15-11, and substitution coming up for Soublier and her squad as taking a seat there is number 12, Megan Smith. She'll be replaced by Sarah McAniff, a Reading, Connecticut native, as she sends this one towards Diedrich, and the Beacons just can't stay out of their own way there. Pepper Baker almost collided with Eileen Shee, and it results in a point here for the visitors and another opportunity for McAniff. Sarah overhand right-handed serve, dug out there by Diedrich. Pepper Baker will set up Cohen from the far end, and she is dug out there on a smart play by number 9, Jocelyn Benson. Pepper Baker looks for Shee. She's just going to set up Diedrich to put it over the net. Dug out by the libero to the near side, and that one a little bit too much mustard on that run from Boyer, one of the team's leaders in kills this year. Kristen was unable to keep that one in bounds, and it's a 16-12 advantage for UMass Boston. Here's Eileen Shee. San Francisco native sees this one dug out by the libero Batas, but unable to keep it in, and that results in an ace for Eileen Shee, her second of the afternoon. It's 17-12, UMass Boston out in front. Another opportunity for an ace, instead a little bit too much on that one, results in an unforced error for the Beacons. It's 17-13. Cassandra Minogue back in the service area at 5'11". She stands tall above everyone on that roster, except for Katie Tierrett, Jill McMiniman, and of course the aforementioned Molly Quilty, 6'4", as this one comes out of bounds off the spike attempt from Diedrich, and this one narrows precipitously as it goes on. It's 17-14. Another chance for Cassandra Minogue. You probably can't see on your screen, but I'll tell you about it in a moment, as this one is a kill for UMass Boston's Haley Diedrich. Julia Murphy back in for Bree Souza. You see out front, and on that play, it was number 11, Kristen Boyer, had two fingers behind her back, signaling which direction she was going to go, what strategy, to number 7, Sarah McAniff, as this one is a spike attempt from the aforementioned Boyer, but it's blocked by UMass Boston on a great play out front by both Glavin and Cohen. And the Beacons get the credit for the point as well as service back, and their team leader at aces is ready to go. That's Elizabeth Glavin in the orange uniform, as this one's dug out there by Batas, as this one is sent back towards the near end, and a good play there by Boyer as she's able to get the point here. At least at first call, we'll see what they end up giving it to, as this one, it will go to Roger Williams, and a substitution for the Hawks. Entering this one is Victoria Caruso, as she will spell Kristen Neff. Caruso, left-handed service, dug out by Diedrich, and Julia Murphy was close range combat there out in front, and it results in a point for the visitors. The Beacons touched it 4 times. Murphy was right out in front of the net and got that one sent right back from whence it came. It's now 19-16 and another chance for Caruso. Glavin has to get down low on that one to dig it out, but Murphy gets up high as she smashes this one between the trees. And the chances for the Hawks of winning this one are dwindling, as the Beacons taking that advantage to 20-16. Just 5 more points needed to wrap up set 1. Here's Michaela Kianko as she enters the game yet again for the serve. Sends this one up to be dug out there by McAniff. Quick spike attempt, and a good one at that. Flying through the air was Quilty, as she used every inch of that 6'4" frame to get it between both Eileen Shee and Elizabeth Glavin, and the Beacons see their lead minimized to 3. Service here from Boyer, dug out there by Shee, sent to Kianko, where Diedrich then sends it over. Spike attempt, and Glavin had to protect herself on that one. Good effort by McAniff. Meanwhile, it's kept alive to the far side. Good block from UMass Boston's Julia Murphy on a spike attempt there by number 12, Megan Smith. Baker for Diedrich, and she gets the job done. The freshman from Michigan delivers as Haley drops it right in between the defense. A Canton, Michigan native and a Canton High School alum. And I mentioned this last month at a broadcast that it is a very rare and funny fact that the Beacons have 2 natives of Canton in 2 different states, and there was the other one, Julia Murphy, sending this one through for a kill. The Beacons extend their lead. Julia is a native of Canton, Massachusetts, and went to Canton High School here in Massachusetts. Meanwhile, Haley Diedrich, who just served there, is a native of Canton, Michigan, and went to Canton High School in Michigan, I should say. So certainly a funny little factoid, as the Beacons will get credit on the point there. Too many touches, as the Hawks knew they couldn't touch that one again. It's 23-17. Substitution as Caruso takes a seat. And the substitution we saw moments ago as Kristen Neff came off the court. Well, she'll head back on. And Haley Diedrich will continue from the service area, as this one's dug out there by Batas, kept alive here by Quilty, and eventually it's sent over the net, and the Beacons get credit for the point, as a good play made there by Pepper Baker. And there's set point for the Beacons, leading 24-17, 3 consecutive kills here for UMass Boston. Kept alive momentarily. Quilty sends it over and out of bounds, and that will do it here for set number 1. So UMass Boston, after getting swept in 3 straight sets earlier this afternoon, comes out with a vengeance as they win this one 25-16, taking the opening set en route to what they hope is their second victory in this invitational. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for UMass Boston and see what the Beacons have up in front of them this week. Of course, they're playing their fourth game, or rather their fourth match now in just over 24 hours here against the visiting Roger Williams Hawks. Meanwhile, the Beacons will have an opportunity to head back into Little East Conference territory as they take on the Corsairs of UMass Dartmouth on Tuesday. That's at 6 p.m. They'll take on Eastern Connecticut State on Halloween. That's next Saturday at 1 p.m. And, of course, as always, keep your eye on the LEC tournament, which will get you set for the regional tournament as well as the national championship this year hosted by Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So now here on the intermission report between sets, we get an opportunity to look at the highlights of what was a Beacons first set victory. Let's take a look. Early on, it was Roger Williams getting the job done with a beautiful ace there, but unfortunately for the Hawks, things quickly turned around, and it was the success of UMass Boston's Haley Diedrich right there with a brilliant spike. Meanwhile, Julia Murphy, who was so critical to the Beacons earlier today and all season, you see it again, back-to-back spikes there to get the Beacons on the board. Good play coming the other way by the Roger Williams Hawks, I should say. But the Beacons, in the end, just had too much going for them. Julia Murphy giving and going right here and then getting credit on the smash and kill. And then the visiting Hawks with Molly Quilty delivering a flying spike there, unable to get anything going towards their momentum. And you see right there, UMass Boston, in the end, just continued to dominate from start to finish of this set. There's Diedrich delivering one of her patented serves as the Beacons end up winning this set by the final of 25-16. So the 9-point victory in the set is an impressive performance from UMass Boston as we get set for set number 2. If the Beacons do end up winning this set to take the 2-0 advantage, well, they'll be just in golden territory, getting set to perhaps sweep this match, which would certainly put a bow on what has been an up-and-down campaign here in 2015. So as both teams get ready to go, we get set for the second set here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. As always, I want to thank the crew that came out to join us here on Beaconville. It's been a bit of a long wait between the first match and the second match, but they found things to do, whether they be productive or not. Earlier on, in fact, less than an hour ago, Roger Williams lost in a grueling match against Clark University in 5 sets. That one back and forth all throughout the afternoon. That one started at 1 p.m. The Beacons played at 11 a.m. If you joined us for that one, we thank you for coming back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network this afternoon. Beacons lost that one 3-0 to Bowdoin, who ripped right through this tournament, really unsurprisingly. The opening serve of set number 2 is an error on number 9, Jocelyn Benson, as this one comes out for Eileen Shee to get the service back. 1-0 UMass Boston here early in set 2. She is out there along with Baker, Glavin, Cohen, Souza, and Diedrich. That was the starting lineup in set 1 as this one comes out of bounds, deflected by Diedrich. And so you'll see credit for that one going on a kill to the Roger Williams Hawks. I believe out there was number 11, Kristen Boyer. Actually, halt that. They change it. The scoreboard initially said Hawks credit, but now they'll give the point to the Beacons and now take it out in the wash as she gets an error there. It's 2-1. Sarah McAniff with her first serve of set 2, dug out there by Glavin. Baker sets up Souza, who just taps that one over the trees. This one will come out of bounds, and the Beacons will get the point. So UMass Boston takes a 3-1 advantage as Julia Murphy re-enters this affair. She'll be replacing Bree Souza, who hobbles off the court. Glavin getting set. The team leader in aces will look to extend that cushion. Beacons leading 3-1 here in set 2. Glavin sees that one dug out by Batas, but no one was home. It looks like she was looking for Kristen Boyer, but Boyer was out of bounds to the right of the center linesman, and just like that, the Beacons extend their advantage. Dug out by Boyer. Chance for Benson to set up help on the far end. That was McAniff, and it comes out of bounds, and UMass Boston sees Roger Williams finally get on the board here over the last couple of serves. It's 4-2. As getting the serve here and coming on in will be Molly Quilty. I should say getting the serve is Cassandra Minogue. Molly Quilty right out in front. Hard to miss her at 6'4" tall. She is a daunting opponent right out in front. That time, however, that one gave trouble to Kristen Neff. It comes back towards the other side for a spike from Boyer. Dug out by Glavin. And an even prettier play there from Colleen Cohen, who gets this one right up the sideline there and keeps it in for a Beacons kill. Kianko back in the game. She'll see Cohen get a chance to catch her breath. Beacons will see Michaela serve, as also re-entering the game for the visitors is the libero. That is Maria Petas, as she is the one digging this one out off the serve from Kianko. And then right there is Molly Quilty showing her talent, sending it between she and Kianko. And the Beacons see this one turned right back over to the Hawks. Hawks will try to soar here in set number 2, but the Beacons will try to keep them grounded as they have been. Here's Pepper Baker setting up Murphy. What a shot from Julia Murphy. She spikes that one down with a vengeance. And the Beacons extend their lead to 3. Haley Diedrich sends this one, and that's an error by Haley. She hooked it a little bit, got a little bit too much on it, and tugged it towards the visiting bench. It's 6-4 and an opportunity for Boyer. Kristen sends this one towards Kianko, keeps it alive. That's she getting set up by Baker, and Eileen will get that one down. Another kill for the Beacons. Fantastic freshman as Bree Souza re-enters the game for Elizabeth Glavin. Murphy gets her first chance to serve this set. She's been proficient in every other realm of the game. Why not continue it here in set number 2? This one is sent over by Boyer, dug out by Diedrich. Pepper Baker looking for Souza. Great dig there. Getting down low there was Neff. Here is Diedrich keeping it alive, sending it up high atop the trees, and a chance for She to spike down, but it's kept alive on a good dig from Boyer. Back and forth they go on a good volley. Baker gets it over. Here's Murphy. Good send back, and a great defensive play by Quilty as Molly does a good job, but unfortunately an error on her part as she goes over the net, and the Beacons see the point go towards them. So a good effort from Molly Quilty, but unfortunately sometimes the height can work against you, and it did there. Oh, a little bit help from the antenna, but unfortunately the Beacons can't get it in. It's now 8-5 as the Hawks continue to swoop back into this thing. It's not over till it's over. The Beacons only up 1-0, and seeing their early lead here in set 2 dissipate. Here's the service from Maria Batas as it's kept alive by the Beacons. Duo of Pepper Baker and Haley Diedrich. Here's a chance for Boyer to spike it in. Good play by Glavin. Sent right back to Glavin from Baker, and then here is Batas having to keep it alive. Cross-court feed there from Benson over towards number 12, Megan Smith, and that one is pounded home by Smith. Right now, 8-6. The Beacons, who were once up by 5, now see their lead here in set 2 dwindle to 2. Batas with the serve, dug out by Diedrich, and Pepper Baker has trouble with that one. And now the height advantage for the Hawks up front, even without Molly Quilty in, is starting to come to fruition. It's 8-7. Maria sends this one over, and an error there on number 17 in blue as Batas, unfortunately for the visitors, commits her 21st service error compared to 31 service aces for the libero. Meanwhile, Pepper Baker is no stranger to success in the service area. She'll get another chance here from the right side of your screen as this one is unfortunate bounce there as unable to keep it from the ground was number 11. That would be the aforementioned Kristen Boyer, and another ace for Pepper Baker. What else is new on the season coming into this one? Pepper had 29 service aces as she gets to round 30 on the season. Good punch there from Diedrich to dig this one out. Haley will just send it over, and she delivers. What a play by 7 in black as she is lucky here on a Saturday afternoon in Beaconville. It's 11-7 UMass Boston. Great effort on both ends for Haley Diedrich, and I said that earlier on in the broadcast how good she's been on both ends of the game, both offensive and defensive, and she showed it on one play there with a great dig and then a great spike as this one is just out of bounds. Pepper Baker slaps her hands together in frustration. That's about as close as you can get to keeping that in. It goes off the foot of the referee. Unfortunately for Pepper, a little salt in the wounds there for number 3 in black. Meanwhile, UMass Boston trying to keep it alive here. It's Glavin sending it towards Pepper Baker. Sets up, she's spiking that one. A good defensive play, but the Beacons will get the score as it's sent back in there on a good play by Megan Smith. Eileen Shee serving yet again. Dug out there by Boyer, and a good spike there by Smith, but the Beacons keep it alive. Batas looking for assistance in the form of Minogue, but she's sent right back by Diedrich and Souza, as also out there in front is Colleen Cohen. And how about Bree Souza? Like Dikembe Mutombo in front of the net. She rejects that one. She says, as unable to penetrate the Beacons' defense there was number 11, Kristen Boyer. So UMass Boston continuing to play well as Eileen Shee's service can't get over the netting. There's another error on the Beacons freshman. It's 13-9. Substitution here for the visiting Hawks, as entering the game right there is McAniff. She will serve towards the Beacons. Here's Diedrich. Dug it out at first, then tried to spike it home, and then a diving attempt from Eileen. She is unsuccessful. She's favoring that right elbow, but pops right back up. She's okay. And another service here, down by 3 for Sarah McAniff and the Hawks. Overhand serve from Sarah's, dug out by Haley, as Haley sends this one towards Pepper Baker, who sent it towards Bree Souza, but it was rejected right back from whence it came by Kristen Neff. And another one here as the kill results in a 2-score deficit now, as this one continues to tighten. Later on we go. Great effort there by Diedrich to watch that one sail out of bounds. She was wise once it trickled the antenna to let it go. It is now 14-11, and Glavin an opportunity for another serve. Libero on libero action there as the dig out by Batas eventually results in a spectacular spike and a kill here for the visitors, as getting credit on that one, Cassie Minogue, number 18, who will get a chance to serve here. Back in the game is Molly Quilty up front, 6'4" setter, as an opportunity here for the visitors to get right back in this one. Colleen Cohen keeps it alive. Pepper Baker sets up She had to hit that one a little harder than she wanted to get it past the outstretched grasps of Quilty. And unfortunately, this one's down to a 1-point advantage. Another chance for Minogue as she sends it over. And she was smart to let it go. Almost caught herself in mid-dig as she tried to keep that one alive. Unable to get that one inbounds was Minogue, who will take a seat. It's now 15-13 as coming on in is Kiyanko. It's been that same rotation for the Beacons so far, as Kiyanko with the service fresh off the bench, and that one is an error on UMass Boston, and that evens this one up even tighter. It's 15-14 now, and a chance to even up this second set now for number 14, Kristen Neff. Neff over the netting, dug out there by She. Pepper Baker looking for Murphy. It's rejected right back towards from whence it came, and we are back evened up 15-all. The Hawks fly together, and they will continue to fight back until the final buzzer sounds here in set number 2. This one kept alive on the dig from Murphy to Baker. A spike attempt from Diedrich kept alive now on Glavin, as Pepper Baker looked like she was just setting it up for a teammate. It got over the net nonetheless. Murphy has to punch it over, and that's not going to help the Beacons' cause as they fall behind for the first time here in set 2. 16-15. And a timeout for Terry Condon, as she does not like where the momentum has shifted. She'll try to shift it right back towards the Beacons here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. So let's take a break for just a few moments. When we come back, we'll have the exciting conclusion of set number 2. She wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Whalen. Yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
Well, the pendulum has swung to and fro here in set number 2 after the Beacons took set 1 25-16. They got an early advantage here in the second set. But the Hawks have persevered, and they're right back in this one. In fact, they're leading set 2 16-15 as we come out of the Beacons' timeout. And the UMass Boston will look to play a little defense here on the serve, coming from number 14, Kristen Neff. Beacons send out a very talented lineup. It's Diedrich, Murphy, Baker up front, Shee, Glavin, and Kianko in the back, and an ace for Neff and the Hawks as they continue to soar above the Beacons over the last few minutes. It's 17-15 as Kianko can't control that one. And another ace for the team in blue. And right on the heels of that ace, an error. So the Beacons see the service giveth and taketh away for the visiting Hawks as it's now 17-16. And the freshman from Canton, Michigan, Haley Diedrich, serves this one over. Good dig out there by McAniff. Kept alive by Benson to be sent on over by Boyer, and a little bit too much mustard on that one from Kristen Boyer, eating Elizabeth Glavin alive at first, but the Beacons will get credit because of the fact that Boyer soared over the net. There's a reason why it was such a good shot. It was illegal, in fact, as Diedrich's going to send this one on the service, tied up at 17, and that one was not illegal. It was just impressive as 6'4" Colleen Quilty sends this one to the court and sends the Beacons to a 1-point deficit. Opportunity now for Boyer from the service area. Kristen will, of course, look to continue her success that she's had today and throughout the season from that area as Eileen Shee continues her success in the two-way game as she kept this one alive on a block and then sent it right back over for the kill. It's 18-all here in set 2. And Julia Murphy will get back to serve for Terry Condon and Mike Houlihan's club. As Murphy sets this one, we invite you to stay tuned to the show between the sets as this is an ace for Julia Murphy, giving the Beacons a 19-18 lead. Unable to keep control of that one was Maria Batas. Between sets, we'll take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard, as well as take a look at highlights of set number 2. This one, a beautiful touch feed by Quilty off the pass and the assist there by number 9, Jacqueline Benson. And UMass Boston sees their lead dwindle back to a draw. Something tells me this one is coming down to the wire. Here's Maria Batas with the service. She sends it towards Diedrich. Diedrich digs it out for Pepper Baker. Baker looking for Shee, and the team leader in kills. Almost does it again, but a good defensive play from Boyer digging that one out. Souza for Baker. Oh, and Pepper had a good idea. She wanted to deceive the defense by dropping it over on the second touch, but unfortunately, she just couldn't get it over the net entirely. And now the advantage swings towards the Hawks. 20-19, Roger Williams. Batas sends it over in a smart play by both Kianko and Diedrich to let it go. And now a couple of substitutions as Kianko will take a seat for Colleen Cohen, as we are knotted up yet again, 20-20. Pepper Baker for the service for UMass Boston. Dug out there. Good play by Boyer. Boyer sees Quilty slam it home for Cassandra Minogue, who ends up getting the kill, as this one will give the lead right back to Roger Williams. It's hard to keep track of who has the lead right now. These two teams just volleying back and forth on kills, and now a chance for Benson to serve. Dug out by Shee. That one's going to get over on its own merit. Benson looking for help in the form of Neff, but an even better play from Souza, who outs out a little bit of exasperation after that kill as she gets the credit. 21-all. And now the Beacons get their service specialist, Christina Elliott, in. She'll get a chance to spell Eileen Shee. And Elliott has had a lot of success from that service area this season. We'll see if it continues. Overhand right-handed service, dug out by Batas, kept alive for Benson. Benson looking for Neff. Good block, partially at least, by Souza, except they're going to call Bree for going over the net. It's now 22-21, and that'll do it for Elliott's temporary entrance into the game, as she'll be replaced again by Eileen Shee with the Beacons playing defense. Here's Sarah McAniff from the service area. She sends this one towards Elizabeth Glavin, dug out by the Beacons libero. And Bree Souza on a great feed from Pepper Baker pounds it home as she'll take a seat fresh off success. 22 all on the kill by Foreign Black. So with a 22-22 draw right now, it'll be Glavin serving. The team leader in aces doesn't get one there, but we'll see if her defense can help her out. They did all for a moment, but unfortunately, Haley Diedrich would have needed rockets in her sneakers to get to that one. It's 23-22, and the pendulum swings the other way. Of course, if both these teams have 24 when we get to it, then it'll be win by 2. And Terry Condon doesn't like what she sees. She'll have a chance to discuss things with her squad. A tight affair here in set 2. The Beacons may lead this match 1-0, but this one is anyone's game. It's 23-22 Hawks right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Beacons already out of their timeout as they trail 23-22 here in set number 2. UMass Boston won the opening set 25-16. They had an early lead in this set, but their advantage dwindled and disappeared. And a good job from Danielle Soublier's club in her first year on the campus of Roger Williams down there in Bristol, Rhode Island. She has done a good job tutoring this team to a above 500 record, even if they are struggling here in this tournament, looking for their first victory in a match in this invitational. Service there for the Hawks, dug out there by Diedrich, and then Haley kept it in. What a great play from Seven in Black, and the freshman playing well beyond her years, both offensively and defensively, dug that one out, and then a brilliant precision kill there as UMass Boston reties the match. It's 23-23 as we'll see a chance for Kiyanko and the Beacons to take the lead back. Dug out there by McAniff. Great spike, and Glavin had no chance on that one. That's the strength of Molly Quilty, 19 in blue. All 6'4" of her on that powerful spike, and it's now 24-23 and set point for the visitors. Here is a chance for Neff to set this one up for a potential set victory. Glavin keeps it alive. Beacons have to reconvene and get in position as Julia Murphy blocks that one. Here's Michaela setting it up for Diedrich, and a pounding spike is dug out there by Batas. Meanwhile, Murphy, great play blocking that one. Chance on the far end for Boyer, kept alive here by Diedrich on a dig. Julia looking for a hit, but she won't get it there. And just like that, Molly Quilty again. And set 2, 25-23, her second consecutive kill. And number 19 in blue continues to dominate her opponents right in front of the net. So the Beacons, who led this set early on, end up succumbing 25-23. And we are all evened up a set apiece between the Hawks and the Beacons in this best-of-5 matchup. Let's take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard as the Beacons currently have this one evened up at 1. We take a look across the Little East Conference for an opportunity to see how their foes, or at least the foes that they'll be taking on in the coming weeks, are doing. Really, for the Beacons today, it's been all about the success of Julia Murphy and Eileen Shee, but unfortunately, they didn't get a lot of it late in set number 2, and because of that, they were unable to come out of that set with a victory when all was said and done. You know what, we'll come back to the Little East Conference scoreboard. Let's go to the highlights of set number 2 as the Beacons saw an early lead in set 2 dwindle and fall to the visiting Hawks. Early on in these highlights, we take a look at the action replay. The early ace from Elizabeth Glavin with the Beacons up 3-1 in set 2. Elizabeth leads the team in aces this season. That was Colleen Cohen there smashing home a spike, getting a delivery, and delivering like FedEx there was Julia Murphy. The raw power from Julia is something that you'll see every match this season. The junior for the Beacons continues to play almost a professional level of offensive game. Meanwhile, Haley Diedrich, what can she do? She plays defense with the best of them and offense as well. The freshman continues to get it done, as does Bree Souza, who denied Roger Williams on that one. The Hawks did come back, though. They won the set, and it's because of great spikes and smashes like that one, as well as this one coming right back in the face of Elizabeth Glavin. Nothing the Beacons libero could do there, as Roger Williams got the lead back after falling behind early. This was Julia Murphy continuing to dominate off of the service, and then coming right back was Roger Williams. Despite falling behind 20-19, they ended up winning this set in spite of great plays like that by Julia Murphy and Bree Souza, and because of great plays like this one coming on up that ended up winning this set by Colleen Quilty. And you'll see it in just a moment. Quilty's the one that just got blocked there, and it'll come right back to Colleen, where she ends up sending it home for the 25th point of the set and the winner for the visiting Hawks of Roger Williams University. So if the Beacons are able to continue their dominance from set 1 and get that back in set 3, they're going to need to see more out of the likes of She and Murphy. I know that they looked good in set number 1, but they're going to need a lot more from them because of the fact that the Beacons rely on that duo for so much of not only their offense, but also their defense. Haley Diedrich has come to play here today. She's had some great plays both offensively and defensively, but unfortunately for UMass Boston, it wasn't enough to overcome their deficit in set 2. So with the sets even, 1-1, we know this one's at least going 4 sets, potentially 5. That would be a lot of volleyball for Roger Williams, as they're coming off a 5-set defeat at the hands of Clark earlier on today. So Murphy takes a seat. She's replaced by Glavin. Glavin's out there along with Pepper Baker, who's getting set to serve, Haley Diedrich, Eileen Shee, Bree Souza, and Colleen Cohen. Here is Pepper ready to get things going in set 3. Great job there by Baker, almost getting an early ace. Instead, she sets up a kill here for Bree Souza as she smashes this one home. You got to like what you see from the Beacons veterans, Murphy and Souza today, as they're leading by example. It's 1-0. We'll get you that LEC scoreboard that we were unable to get to between sets at the next time out. Judging from the way these coaches like to coach, we'll get it soon as Eileen Shee professes her success on the visiting Hawks, pounding that one home. What a smash by number 11 in black. I tell you what, she comes from the Golden Coast, and she has been about as golden a pickup as you can have by Terry Condon and these Beacons. Pepper Baker's got the golden touch in the service area, but an even better touch there for Bree Souza, sending it back from whence it came, and the Beacons are rolling early. It's 3-0. If you ask me, there's nothing better than getting the early advantage in any sport, certainly volleyball's included. You can get the early advantage, then you can just bleed your opponents dry. We'll see if they do so, as the Beacons will take a 4-0 advantage, that one coming out of bounds. Beacons leading 4-0 here in set 3. They'd like nothing more than to make this a quick set, knowing they have at least one more coming up right after it. And Pepper Baker, what else is new? Call her the rally starter when she's serving. Beacons seem to continue to put up points whenever Pepper is back there. She keeps that one alive on a nice dig. Glavin looking for Colleen Cohen. Kept alive by Boyer. Benson looking for help in the form of number 12, Megan Smith, but this one eventually comes out of bounds off of Glavin, and the Beacons finally see credit come over here towards the Hawks. It's 4-1. McAniff enters the game as Sarah will get her first service of set 3. She sends it towards Elizabeth Glavin. Glavin towards Baker. Will eventually Souza will get the point as she gets the kill. It's sent over and deflected out of bounds off of the visiting Hawks. Eileen Shee now ready to go. A very fast-moving affair. UMass Boston evened up at 1 here in sets, and another error. That's the third of the affair by Shee. She also has an ace to go along with it. She's decent in the service area, though I wouldn't call it the strength of her game. She's more feast or famine from that spot. Meanwhile, here's a chance for the Beacons to feast on an error by the visiting Hawks as Cassie Minogue is unable to drop that one over the net. And it was a quick and painful moment there for Minogue as she'll head right back to the bench, replaced there by Batas. And now the Beacons leading 6-2. See their best service star, as that is The aforementioned Elizabeth Glavin getting it over. This one dug out by Baker in front of Shee. Glavin sets things up for a chance for a spike from Diedrich. Keeping it alive using her bicep there was Glavin. And this volley continues. And the Beacons! An impressive show there for UMass Boston. Getting right out in front of the netting and blocking it down was number 16, Colleen Cohen. And the Beacons extend their advantage to 7-2. So Glavin looking for more. Dug out here by McAniff. Benson looking for Quilty. Instead it defers to Boyer. Boyer's blocked in front by Diedrich. And the Beacons continue to dominate here in set 3. I don't know what was said between sets, but it doesn't look like Danielle Soublier likes it, as she'll get an opportunity to call a timeout, and we get an opportunity to take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. So as the Beacons, coming into this set, evened up at 1, look to get a big victory. It was a big win for Western Connecticut State in 4 sets, 3-1 over Southern Maine, and a dominant performance by Plymouth State as they dwarf the Corsairs of Dartmouth 3-0. Finally, the Owls of Keene State saying, well, there's nobody that can do it better than us against Eastern Connecticut State. That was a road match, too, for the Keene State Owls as they win this one, flying high above EastCon in a 3-0 set victory. So in the Little East Conference, not a lot of competitive matchups today. The closest one, that Western Connecticut State 3-1 victory. Beacons will hope to continue that trend by winning the next 2 sets, including this one, to win this match, as this one is 8-2 Beacons in set 3 of a 1-1 match when it comes to sets. Elizabeth Glavin out of the timeout will get the opportunity to serve. Beacons keep the same lineup out there, except looks like Colleen Cohen is going to be spelled by Julia Murphy. Excuse me, Bree Souza. Colleen Cohen still out there as this one is sent back towards the Beacons bench. Unfortunately, Pepper Baker couldn't get it. The initial deflection by Julia Murphy. And fresh out of the timeout, momentum swings the other way. We've seen it all afternoon long, and now an opportunity to continue the shift by the Roger Williams Hawks, but it looks like Julia Murphy says, au contraire, mon frere, I'm going to deliver a beautiful smash in, and as Colleen Cohen takes a seat for Kiyanko, who will serve, the Beacons extend their lead to 6. It's 9-3 UMass Boston out in front, as Michaela Kiyanko sends this service towards McAniff. Benson looking for Quilty, and that 6'4" superstar up front, Colleen Quilty. And it's such a difficult defense because typically, as a solid defender knows up front, both Souza and Murphy right now in there up front with Diedrich, who's also very good as a setter up front. They typically like to rise up and use their size to block down opponent kills, but unfortunately, you can't do that when your opponent's 4 inches taller than you, as the Beacons see Colleen Quilty right there. Try to do it again. Good dig there by Kiyanko. Sent over to the far side for Diedrich, who spikes it home. And UMass Boston gets a much-needed point to stem the tide of what could have been a momentum-building rally for the visitors from Bristol, Rhode Island. But now here is Haley Diedrich off of the kill with an opportunity to serve as she sends this one towards Megan Smith and the Hawks. And Colleen Quilty continues to play very well here in the latter portions of this match, as she will, I think, get a chance to take a seat off of back-to-back kills, as she will be replaced out there. It'll be number 18, Cassandra Minogue, as Maria Batas gets a chance to serve. She sends this one over, and a great accurate serve on the ace there by number 17 in white, as she sends that one right out in front of number 12. That is Michaela Kiyanko, and the Beacons' lead is down to 4. Glavin digging this one out, set up by Baker, looking for Murphy. Great effort by Julia Murphy. What sound precision on that one as she pulls back a little strength, and as Glavin takes a seat for Souza, Julia heads back to the service area. Murphy sends it over, dug out by Maria, and no one home for the visitors as the Hawks did not fly together on that one. Beacons get credit for the point, and an ace here for the visitor. That is Julia Murphy as the Beacons lead 12-6. Gotta like what you see from Julia Murphy. She continues to play better as the season goes on, and she continues to play great action today as rejected by the netting there was Megan Smith, and the Beacons lead extends to 7. We said in the opening intro that this matchup would be a little bit more to the Beacons' liking against a Roger Williams team that doesn't play as stiff a competition as the Beacons do, as they'll get another point here. And the success of Julia Murphy from the service area continues. It's 14-6. Dug out there by Boyer. She'll come right back for a spike attempt. Good save by Diedrich. Baker looking for Shee. A little bit too much on that one from Eileen, unable to rise up high enough to keep it in bounds. It's now 14-7, and service comes back for Jackie Benson. Number 9 in blue. Serving that one over the net, dug out by Glavin. Pepper Baker looking for Shee, and Eileen delivers! Come on, Eileen! She comes through in flying colors right there between the duo of defenders, both Batas and Boyer, and the Beacons' lead extends to 8. Pepper Baker now ready to go as she is back in there for the first time in the service area since the beginning of this set when the Beacons reeled off 4 consecutive with her in the area, and that trend continues. UMass Boston continuing to play mind games with the visiting Hawks as the Hawks seem out of position a number of times here in set number 3. It's 15-7, UMass Boston out in front, 16-7 as here's Pepper Baker serving over towards Boyer. Benson keeps it alive for Smith. Blocked down in front with Souza and Cohen in the area. Cohen tries to get it over the tree. She does. Kept alive by Boyer. And then a beautiful spike and kill there by number 18, Cassandra Minogue, as she gets credit for another kill for the visiting Hawks. And substitution, we'll see Megan Smith take a seat for Sarah McAniff. Number 7 in blue towards Glavin on the serve, setting this one up for Cohen. Good dig there by McAniff. Minogue sets up Boyer. Boyer's spike attempt dug out by Diedrich towards the right of the netting, and a great play from Cohen as Colleen deceives the defense with a very delicate shot that fell right between 3 of the Hawks setters, and UMass Boston extends their lead to 9. Here's Eileen Shee. Unfortunately for Eileen, it's another service error coming out of bounds to the near side. It's now 17-9. And a chance for Minogue, whose last service was inauspicious as she committed an error and then immediately went to the bench. She'll try to get it back together here, and she does, dug out by Diedrich. Eileen Shee over the net, and then it's sent right back from whence it came. She tried to go soft over the net, but she was told anything you can do, I can do better by Colleen Quilty, who deadened the ball right in front of the Beacon setters. Here's Minogue with a 17-10 deficit here in set 3 in a 1-1 match. Eileen Shee tries to send this one, but denied by Benson on the spike. Meanwhile, Glavin digs it out smartly. Good right-handed move there by Souza to get it over the net, but an even better move by the team's nemesis right now, Colleen Quilty. I tell you what, if she's Supergirl, the Beacons might need kryptonite to get out of this one alive. Despite their lead, it's Colleen Quilty who has absolutely put on a show for the Hawks. Glavin digs this one out as it comes towards Pepper Baker, and Pepper tried to set up Souza, who mistimed her jump, and Bree's unable to make contact with that one. An error by the Beacons. It's 17-12. All of a sudden, 3 consecutive scores here for the Hawks, and Terry Condon, much like myself, doesn't like that one bit as she calls timeout. So the UMass Boston Beacons saw their 8-point lead dwindle to 5, and Terry Condon will discuss things with the team. We'll discuss how the Beacons are doing this season and this afternoon when we come back right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
So 3 consecutive successful possessions here for the visitors from Roger Williams. It went from 17-9 to 17-12, and the service will continue in the grasp of number 18, Cassandra Minogue. Beacons want to close out this set to take the 2-1 advantage and perhaps end this one early in 4 sets. If need be, we'll go to 5, which, as opposed to the first 4, that goes up to 25 points, only goes up to 15. Meanwhile, the Beacons trying to get right back on the scoreboard, but it won't happen here as the visiting Hawks continue their momentum turning as they get the point there on a nice kill by Quilty. So now with the Beacons' 8-point lead down to 4, and all 4 of them coming with Minogue serving, she'll do it again. She digs it out, but it's going to head all the way back towards the wall. It is 5 consecutive points for the visitors from Bristol, Rhode Island. This lineup for Soublier has been very good of late as Pepper Baker serves this one up for a chance for She to keep alive. She does. Quilty denied by Souza, just what the doctor ordered for the Beacons, as it was Bree Souza denying the 6-foot 4-inch grasp of Quilty, and UMass Boston gets right back on the scoreboard, 18-14. So Molly Quilty was that close to doing it again, but the Beacons defense says no. And the defense tried to do it again, but unable to was Julia Murphy. Good spike there by Boyer, and it's 18-15. All smiles right now for the Hawks, and why not? It's 1-1, and they're fighting back here into set 3 as Baker looks to set up her teammate. It looked like it was heading for Murphy, but a little too high for her and a little too low for Cohen. And right now, all the momentum has shifted towards the visiting Hawks. And that might be the momentum killer the Beacons needed. An error there on Roger Williams as Kristen Neff is unable to keep it in on the far side of the court. It's now 19-16 Beacons as re-entering the game will be Kianko. Michaela sends it over. Beacons getting set defensively. It'll be McAniff sending it over to be dug out there by Pepper Baker. Here's Glavin keeping it alive. Baker for Diedrich, and then getting down low was McAniff on a good dig. And a chance for Boyer, who delivers. I tell you what, Boyer's looked good over the last couple of plays, and she delivers again, and a chance to serve for 11 in blue as taking a seat there will be Sarah McAniff, replaced by Jackie Benson. UMass Boston's lead is down to 2, 19-17. Good spike attempt there by Diedrich, kept alive on a good play made by the visitors. That was Neff, and now this thing has gotten as tight as it can possibly be. 19-18 here in set 3. All the momentum has shifted towards the Hawks. That one dug out by Kianko off the service by Boyer. Chance now for the Beacons to try to get some of it back. Here's Murphy getting it down, but a good dig there by Boyer. Quilty's right there if they want to go to her. Instead, it's Glavin who gets fooled. She lost sight of the ball, and we are tied at 19. The Beacons led set 3, 17-9. 10 of the last 12 have come for the Hawks. And again, Terry Condon, it didn't work last time, but she'll try to stem the tides that bind with a momentum-killing timeout. We'll be back right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Come on, Jake.
As usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Layden, yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
So it's been a topsy-turvy roller coaster ride of a third set. The Beacons had an early advantage, and it looked like they'd moonwalk their way out of this gymnasium with a victory over the Hawks here in set 3, but unfortunately the Beacons have been unable to maintain that momentum. A 17-9 lead just moments ago has dwindled into no lead as we're all knotted up at 19 as getting set to serve this one and try to take their first lead of the set for the Hawks will be Kristen Boyer. Boyer sends it over the netting to be dug out by Kianko. She's out there along with Julia Murphy, who just tapped that one to be blocked by Quilty. Dug out on a smart play by Smith. Quilty's denied. Good kick there by Boyer, but an even better play by Pepper Baker. And the team's leader up front, Pepper Baker, delivers as she sends home a kill to give the Beacons a 1-point lead. That was an impressive play by Boyer to keep it alive with her lower body, but unfortunately for the Hawks, Pepper Baker knows what to do with it. And now the Beacons will look to extend their advantage. She is blocked, and it comes out of bounds for the Beacons to get yet another point. It's 21-19 as the Beacons lead this one. And looks like that momentum killing timeout did exactly what it was intended to do. Oh, unfortunately, Diedrich didn't do exactly as she was intending to do, as this one clips the front of the net, and an error sends it right back towards the Hawks. 21-20, Maria Batas getting set to go, as she sends this one over with a right-handed serve. Kianko digs it out. Pepper Baker has to set up Eileen Shee with a spike, dug out by Kristen Boyer for the Hawks. Chance for Smith to swat this one down, but it's kept alive by Diedrich. Julia Murphy sends it over on an alert athletic play. Kept alive on the far side by Kianko. Pepper Baker tried to do it herself, but she went over the netting, and we are tied yet again. 21 all between the Beacons and the Hawks. Mike Houlihan didn't agree with the call, but he's not going to win this argument. Maria sets for the serve. It's dug out there by Kianko. Julia Murphy's strength on that rising smash is denied on a good play there by Neff, as this one eventually comes off the netting, and the grasp of Michaela is unable to get the job done, as Haley Diedrich is unable to get it over the net. It's 22-21. The Hawks out in front. Glavin digs it out off the serve from Batas. The Beacons led by 8 halfway through this set. They now trail by 1, 22-21. Spike attempt is good, and a great play made there by Megan Smith. And UMass Boston, their backs are against the wall here in set number 3. They do not want to fall behind 2-1 after leading by 8 just moments ago. Here is a chance for Batas. Great diving dig there, and out of bounds, and set point coming up. All of a sudden, the Beacons on their heels, and the Hawks, well, their talons are sinking in, going for blood. They lead 24-21. If Batas can get an ace here, her team wins the set and takes a 2-1 advantage. After this one, we'll get highlights of the set, as this one is out of bounds. A break for the Beacons. A service error keeps it alive, 24-22. And we'll see what the Beacons decide to do. It looks like Elliott is going to come in, I believe. Yep, they're going to call on their service specialist to spell Murphy here late in set 3. So it's Elliott out there along with Diedrich, Pepper Baker, Eileen Shee, Bree Souza, and Michaela Kianko, it looks like, as this one is going to be sent towards Batas, who keeps it alive. Spike attempt from Smith. Baker keeps it alive. A great play by Christina to dive for it as Elliott keeps this one alive for the moment. Kianko sends it towards Shee. Someone has to get it over. It's Elliott. Beacons seeing everything come their way as Elliott sees it to Shee, who is blocked. Eileen keeps it alive up in the air. Great volley back and forth. Baker is blocked, and the set is over. Pepper Baker, well, there's only so much she can do. The Beacons led set 2, 17, or should say set 3, 17-9, and end up falling 25-22. So the Beacons down 2-1 now. Will have to win 2 consecutive sets if they have any hopes of winning this matchup and avoiding falling to 1 and 3 in this invitational. UMass Boston had a 17-9 lead, and they saw that dwindle. Let's take a look at the highlights from that third set. Early on, I mentioned the Beacons with the success. You'll check out a couple of fantastic offensive plays, as that was Julia Murphy smashing it home. Good block there by Murphy to keep it alive, and then it's going to be Bree Souza pounding it in there. Colleen Cohen also in on an early smash, as you see Murphy delivering. Beacons had the early advantage, 9-4 on your scoreboard there. Haley Diedrich then made it 10-4 right out in front of the libero, Maria Batas, but then the other way came Roger Williams with a smash of their own. Beautiful finger roll here from Julia Murphy as she just goes right in front of the defense to make the 13-6 lead for the Beacons. Eileen Shee Shee also getting involved in the action before Roger Williams narrows their 16-7 deficit with a nice smash there from Kristen Boyer. Unfortunately for Roger Williams, their deficit grew, and it was 17-9 at one point. But then you see here, Roger Williams getting right back in this one. A slam dunk smash-a-rama right out in front of Haley Diedrich results in that beautiful kick play, but the Beacons eventually are able to get the point on a great play by Pepper Baker. And then right here you see set point, where the Beacons eventually do succumb to the visiting Hawks in set number 3, as it'll fall right behind Pepper Baker in just a moment on a good play made by Megan Smith. Unfortunately, the Beacons, who had a big lead in set 3, couldn't prolong that lead, and they end up falling by the final score in set number 3 of 25-22. So as you see coming up here, Pepper Baker gets it rejected behind her. The Beacons end up succumbing to fall behind 2-1. We're going to step away for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll take a look around Beaconville, see what's going on for the rest of the athletes here on the campus of University of Massachusetts Boston. Beacons trail 2-1. I'm John Skudris, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
The players are set to go here for set 4. I promise you we will get you some numbers at least about what's going on around Beaconville. UMass Boston, though, right now, the women's volleyball team has their focus solely on set number 4. They know they squandered an opportunity in the last couple of sets. They won the opening set 25-16 and look to have the advantage against the Roger Williams team that has not played well this weekend. But right now, the Beacons, some unforced errors and really some brain cramps have resulted in a 2-1 deficit. Off the opening service here from Boyer, she'll try to send this one herself, and she does, as Kristen gets the visitors off to an early lead here in set 4. It's 1-0 Roger Williams. Here's Benson with her second serve, dug out by Glavin. Pepper Baker goes behind the back, and a beautiful feed from Pepper Baker as she rubs salt in the wounds of the visiting Hawks, and a great play by the California native Eileen Shee. Now she will get a chance to serve. She's been hit or miss on that faction of her game, does the job there, as this one's sent over by Megan Smith, dug out by Eileen. Pepper Baker finds Cohen with a nice smash, and the spike there from Colleen Cohen gives the Beacons a 2-1 advantage. UMass wants to send this to a 5th set. The Hawks want to get out of here and head back south with their first victory of the Invitational. We'll see what happens here in set number 4. Kept alive by Benson, and a great play there on an effort by Neff as she sends that one right in front of that line. And for Sublier and the visiting Hawks, it's been a high rising act here in the 3rd and 4th sets. I tell you, it didn't look good for them early on in set 3. Ever since, though, as you see Haley Diedrich have trouble with that one, resulting in yet another point for the Hawks. They have been soaring. Here's McAniff getting set for her first service of the set, and unfortunately, Diedrich's second consecutive poor effort there as she's unable to keep it inbounds. It's 4-2 now as Haley sees that one come off her fists and out of bounds. Here's McAniff looking for more. Great ace there by number 7 in blue. It handcuffed Shee, and no chance for Cohen as it came in at her feet. And it's 5-2. Roger Williams looking to turn the dagger here in this 4th set. Here's Pepper Baker keeping it alive. Pounding effort there on the smash from Cohen. It's blocked back towards her by number 18, that is Minogue, as this one comes off of Pepper Baker. The kill gets credited to Boyer, and it's 6-2, Beacons trail. Now, granted, the Beacons had a 17-9 lead last set, so not all leads are safe. Things can always turn around, and a good job that time by Diedrich to let it go. It's 6-3, and the Beacons get service back in their half of the court. Here's Glavin. It's been 22-8 since the Beacons led 17-9 halfway through set number 2. Make that 22-9 as the Beacons trim the deficits to 6-4 here in set 4. Glavin back in her area to serve. Elizabeth's overhand service dug out there by Batas, kept alive now by Benson. Benson looking for help in the form of Neff, but the defensive prowess of Colleen Cohen gets the Beacons back on the board. It's now 6-5. Glavin with the service yet again. Here's Benson looking for Minogue, and Glavin thought she got underneath that one. Turns out she did not, and a kill there for Cassandra Minogue as Molly Quilty re-enters the game for Maria Batas. That is a bad break for the Beacons, although Quilty is more of an offensive star here through the first 3.5 sets of this one. Over the head and inbounds as Eileen Shee made a judgment call, and she judged wrong as that one is an ace for number 18, Cassandra Minogue. And for all intents and purposes, it's Minogue who turned this one around. Beacons led 17-9 in a 1-1 match last set. And then Minogue got in to serve. She was so prolific at that, it resulted in 6 consecutive scores for the visitors. And it hasn't turned back since, as this one is credit towards the visiting Hawks. Beacons were over the net. That was Julia Murphy, and it's 9-5 Hawks right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Minogue yet again with an opportunity from the service area. 9-5. UMass Boston trails, dug out by Shee. Pepper Baker setting up Murphy. Oh, that was as pretty as it gets. Murphy pounding it home. And now as Kianko comes in for Cohen, the Beacons get service back and look to get back in this match. It's 9-6, UMass Boston trails here in set 4. And a good serve there and an ace for Eileen Shee. Somebody get her an ice pack because she is on fire. It's 9-7 right now. Eileen all season, and Kianko as well, who's serving here, as this one is right between the defense. Back-to-back aces for UMass Boston as Kianko continues to be as spectacular as can be from that service area. Just call it her home. She's come on in and substitutions to serve all afternoon, and she has made it look easy. That one was not easy for Glavin as she had to dive down to try to protect possession, but unfortunately unable to do so on the dig attempt. It's now 10-8. Service here for Neff as it's dug out by Glavin. Pepper Baker for Julia Murphy. Kept alive on a good play by Jackie Benson. Baker looking for one of Diedrich or Glavin. It's Elizabeth who takes it. Benson towards the far side. Good block there, and unfortunately UMass Boston was over the netting, and it's now 11-8. Beacons trailing. Give credit where credit is due. That was a good play by Kristen Boyer. Neff sends it over. Murphy sends it for Diedrich, and UMass Boston back on the board as Haley Diedrich will get credit for a kill. And now she'll be serving as Haley back in the service area. It's 11-9. Beacons trailing right now in set 4 as Haley tries to pierce the defense, but it's kept alive by McAniff. Pepper Baker looking to set up Eileen Shee. Great play by the Beacons freshman to get it over the net and get possession going on this volley. Julia Murphy for Pepper Baker. Back for Eileen Shee. Did she ever even touch that? I'm not sure. Regardless, it keeps the volley alive. Quilty out in front is a tough nut to crack. And the Beacons doing a good job of it here of late in set 4. Here's Murphy looking for some assistance from Pepper Baker. She gets it. Shee back for Baker, and she sends it over for Batas. Here's a chance for Quilty, and that's tough cooking there for UMass Boston. When Molly Quilty's all alone, it's very difficult to judge whether or not she's going to send over one of her patented howitzer cannons or just deceive you with a soft touch shot. She did the latter there, and the Beacons now trail 12-9. So the visiting Hawks are just about halfway to a victory here as they lead 12-9 here in set number 4, leading the match 2-1. A match reset. The Beacons won set number 1 25-16. Everything was coming up Beacons for Terry Condon's club. Unfortunately, though, things quickly went down the tubes, especially in set 2 when the Beacons had a back-and-forth affair that saw them notched up at 22 late in that set. They end up losing the set after 3 consecutive kills for the visiting Hawks, 25-22. And then in set 3, where the Beacons looked to have all the momentum back on their side, leading 17-9, a very strategic timeout by the visiting Hawks and their head coach, Danielle Soublier, in her first season at the helm down there in Bristol, completely changed the momentum. And the Beacons went from leading 17-9 to losing that set, 25-21. It's been a little bit more back and forth here in set 4, but the Beacons have trailed for the extent of it, as they trail 12-9 coming out of the timeout. Taking a seat there will be McCann. She'll be replaced by Megan Smith, and taking the service here will be Kristen Boyer. Boyer's service dug out there by Shee. Pepper Baker for Murphy, blocked back by Quilty, where it's dug out by Glavin. Shee sees this one blocked by Quilty. What else is new? And another opportunity, this time finally getting it over Quilty, and UMass Boston gets finally a point as it's 12-10 here in set 4. Glavin replaced by the defensive specialist Souza. I think Terry Condon and Mike Houlihan see Molly Quilty wreaking havoc in front. They want to get Souza out there, and unfortunately a rare error from the service area for Julia Murphy makes it 13-10 and sends the ball back towards the visitors, as the Beacons will get another couple of timeouts. We'll get our first chance to see number 5, Rachel Maslach, a native of Berlin Center, Ohio. She played in the opener of our doubleheader against Bowdoin, but has not yet played today, or I should say this afternoon. 13-10. Here's Batas with an opportunity on the serve, and a tough one for Eileen Shee, as it came right off the left side of her arm and really sent the trajectory careening towards the center court here of Clark Athletic Center gym, and unfortunately no one was able to corral it. Now the Beacons trail by 4. Here's Batas again, this one just over the netting, dug out by Shee. Looks like it's going to be Maslach setting up Pepper Baker for a kill, and she decides to take that one and gets the smash. Beacons leading right now in assists, as it's 14-11. And now Pepper Baker, if there's anybody you want to start a rally, this is the young lady, as Pepper is back on out there, number 2 in black. She got this game started with an impressive array in the Beacons' 25-16 opening set victory, as Pepper comes back to her right, and she'll really have no work to do there. UMass Boston sees the Hawks get credit there on the point. Right now, the Beacons need so much more up front. And it's not often that you say that, because they have their most talented, most experienced players up front. The Souzas, the Murphys, the Cohens, as this one comes out of bounds on an error, and the Beacons get the point in possession back. And while they haven't played exceedingly poorly, it's tough to compete with a Molly Quilty at 6'4". The Beacons just need more. They need more up front, and right now they'll get it there again. So the Beacons getting it right now up front from the duo of Cohen and Souza. It's 15-13. UMass Boston still trails, but Eileen Shee looking to send the momentum back the Beacons' way as Glavin sets things up for Baker, looking for Souza, and a good dig there by Batas. Meanwhile, on the near side, it's going to be Baker giving it to Glavin, setting up Diedrich. Diedrich tries to split the defenders, but a good dig there by Kristen Boyer, and a great, smart play by Eileen Shee. She was fooled earlier on in the affair, and this time she gets the job done as this one falls out of bounds. The Beacons right now taking their first lead. This one comes out of bounds. I didn't mean first lead of the match. I meant of the set, looking to take it, but unfortunately it trickles the other way. 16-14. Of course, it's 2-1. Roger Williams, they've won sets 2 and 3 after the Beacons won set 1. And Cassandra Minot continues to be right square in the middle of all the action as she gets Roger Williams one step closer to ending this one. It's 17-14. This one sent over the netting by McAniff, dug out by Shee, and a great play by Haley Diedrich. Good effort from Batas, but no chance there as Diedrich pounds it home. Flying above the net, it's 17-15. And Elizabeth Glavin will have a chance to get the job done from her service area as it comes out of bounds on the far end. Unfortunately, the Beacons just unable to keep momentum going. When they do see a light to the end of the tunnel, it quickly closes up by either a great play by the Hawks or an unforced error like that one. Eileen Shee off the service from McAniff. And this one's pounded inbounds. Good play by Cohen. Colleen has been very precise on those plays from the left of the antenna, almost out of bounds. And we'll get our first chance to see Sam Weiner as she enters the game along with Maslak. Rachel will get the serve. Weiner, a native of Pasadena, California. Probably not used to this weather. I woke up this morning, came to the arena. It was 39 degrees in my car. Couldn't believe it. I also can't believe that the Beacons are coming back in this one. Looked like they were struggling to get any momentum. Now all of a sudden they're right back in it. It's 18-17. Maslak looking for more off of the kill there from Julia Murphy. Dug out by McAniff, set up for Quilty, who whiffed on it, and UMass Boston is right back in it. They have tied this set at 18. So it doesn't seem like anybody can close out a set here of late. The Beacons almost won set 3 before collapsing, and now here after leading by 4 in set 4, the Hawks are beginning to flounder as Sam Weiner delivers on a beautiful smash and kill. It's 19-18 UMass Boston. Maslak came in as a substitution moments ago. 3 consecutive points for the Beacons since she started serving. She tries to set up Diedrich. Drop down for Boyer. By way of Benson, back to Boyer. Kept alive by Weiner. She almost hits the basketball net. Mercifully so, it misses. Here is Quilty. And no hope for UMass Boston's Elizabeth Glavin as that one was pounded home by the 6'4" star, I should say, Molly Quilty. I mean, let's be honest, the Duxbury, Massachusetts native has been fantastic. A Duxbury High School alum, those Duxbury Dragons, and she's breathing fire all over the Beacons this afternoon as this one is knocked in for UMass Boston to get the point back and the lead back as they lead 20-19 here in set 4. Here is Diedrich serving with a 1-point lead, 20-19. Far side, and Beacons take the advantage yet again. All of a sudden, all the momentum has swung to UMass Boston, and we have a timeout. Danielle Sublier doesn't like what she sees. That was Terry Condon last set. Right now, the Beacons looking to send this to 5. They lead 21-19 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
My name is Allie Greenberg. I'm an ice hockey player here. I'm a junior, majoring in human services, and I'm part of the Key for Hope Foundation. We recycle the keys and stock food pantries with the money. I wanted to bring this foundation to the athletic department, and I believe we can end hunger starting at UMass Boston. I got started with the Key for Hope Foundation due to my father. He's the one who founded this program.
I said, what can I do with a classroom environment giving back? And everybody's got an old key, and keys are made of brass, and brass is a recyclable commodity. And thinking about how many children are in a school system and how far we can go with taking this to do something right for humanity, I started a foundation called Key for Hope, feeding others with the collecting of keys. In 2.5 years, we collected over 500,000 keys. And I'm excited about this whole opportunity because you know what? One key may not seem like much to most people, but when you collect the masses of keys that we've collected, it shows that there is an ability for people to get together and create what I'm considering our hunger-fighting opportunity.
Haley Diedrich will get the service as we reconvene here in set 4. Beacons leading 21-19. They trailed for the majority of this set. All of a sudden, though, they've turned the Jets on and they're going forward full blast. Here's a chance for the Beacons to take yet another lead as they go up by 3, 22-19. As Quilty, sometimes the size advantage works as a disadvantage. She can't get down low like some of the more diminutive players can. And now as Elliott will enter into the game, the service specialist looks to stick the dagger into the heart of the Hawks here in set 4. It's 22-19. And UMass Boston going for the kill. Elliott delivers as this one drops in, and an ace for UMass Boston. It's 23-19. The Beacons one step closer to sending this to a decisive 5th set. Beacons trailed by multiple scores in this one, but they came back here in set 4, and all of a sudden, discombobulated are the Hawks, and now the Beacons send it right back to them. A great play by Quilty, who kept it alive, and Maslach just was not in position to keep that one alive. Beacons touched it 3 times, and then it went off the net. It's 23-20. Beacons trailed 2-1, so the Hawks know if they come back, they can win this and end it here, and that's not going to help. Bad play by Boyer, and the Beacons have set point. It'll be Julia Murphy with an opportunity to win the set and send it to set number 5 as the star upperclassman will serve. Overhand service dug out by Batas, kept alive here by Benson. Back towards a spike attempt, and UMass Boston, 4th is a 5th set. The Beacons win set 4 by the final of 25-20. And we will go to a determining and all-inclusive 5th set. The winner gets 15 in set number 5, and the Beacons will hope to be that squad as they have come back from a 2-1 deficit. We'll take a look at highlights here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network in just a moment as we continue along between sets. Beacons winning that set by the final of 25-20. Let's take a look at those highlights as UMass Boston came from behind to win it. Colleen Cohen, what a fantastic move there on the smash attempt. Meanwhile, the Roger Williams Hawks came right back with a couple of smash and dunkachinos as they delivered coming back the other way. You see it right here. Look at that. Elizabeth Glavin had to protect her face just so she didn't walk out of this thing needing reconstructive surgery. Meanwhile, you don't want to get in front of one of Julia Murphy's powerful blasts or one of Eileen Shee's aces as she sent that one in for a spectacular play. Coming back the other way, the alley-oop by Roger Williams. The Beacons then tip this one over to get an advantage early on in the set. However, the Beacons tip leads to a two-handed jam for Roger Williams as everything's coming up aces for the Hawks midway through set 4. The tide then turned because of Julia Murphy and Sam Weiner. You saw Sam right there deliver an over-the-hand smash. And after this monster smash by Roger Williams, it was Christina Elliott's ace that eventually stuck the dagger in the hearts of the visiting Roger Williams Hawks as the Beacon service specialists came in late, up by 3, and eventually ended set 4 with a brilliant play. So UMass Boston, unfortunately, unable to end this one earlier on in this match. They fell behind, and what would have been the winning set right there ended up being just a set to even things up. Now, with just over a minute to go until set 5 begins, we'll go to a break. When we come back, we'll have an opportunity to bring you the exciting final set of this, the UMass Boston Invitational.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
So here we go. The teams stay on their respective sides as we get set for set 5. For those of us new to collegiate volleyball, set 5 will be up to 15. It's still win by 2, much like with any set. So this one will be a bit of an abbreviated set as the Beacons look to win and get their second victory of the weekend. Meanwhile, the visitors from Bristol, Rhode Island, the Roger Williams University Hawks, will look to salvage a victory in their 4 games this weekend. They're 0-3 so far in 3 matches. Pepper Baker, much like she did to begin this match, will start set 5 in the service area. And number 2 in black with her patented dribble move before getting things going. And ooh, that was not patented by Pepper Baker. A rare error by the Beacon star. And that starts things off auspiciously for the visiting Hawks. It's 1-0. So here is Sarah McAniff as she sends this one over. It's 2-0. Miscommunication between Souza and Diedrich. And a good start for the Hawks in an abbreviated set. First to 15, it's 2-0 Roger Williams. Here's McAniff sending it over, dug out by Glavin. Baker will set up, and it's rejected right in her face on a great play made there by Kristen Boyer, the junior from Ephrata, Pennsylvania. And just like that, 3-0 Hawks on the Beacon's broadcasting network. McAniff sends it over, dug out by number 7, Haley Diedrich. Smash attempt there by Souza's rejected on a good play by Minogue. Another chance for the Beacons, and a deceptive play from Cohen as she takes the mustard off of the hot dog and sends that one down between the defense. It's 3-1 on the Beacons broadcasting network. So Eileen Shee back there getting set to serve. Dug out by Batas. Kept alive here by Benson. Benson doing a good job. She's got a plethora of assists today, and she'll get one more on the spike there by Boyer. It's 4-1. The junior from Manorville, New York, Cassandra Minogue, serves this one in a service error as the Beacons are back on the board, 4-2, and Glavin will get set to serve. Elizabeth has had another strong day, both offensively and defensively. She'd like to top it off with a victory. Here's a chance for a soft, deceptive play made there by Neff. Meanwhile, coming back the other way is Cohen, rejected back towards Pepper Baker. Glavin sets up Diedrich smash, and she delivers as Haley, the freshman from Canton, Michigan, gets the Beacons back on the board. It's 4-3. UMass Boston and the Hawks of Rhode Island evened up at 2 here in set 5 as now looks like we might have had an injury, but back on her feet is Benson, and we're set to go. Service for Glavin. She's out there along with Shee, Cohen, Diedrich, Baker, and Murphy. Dug out there by McAniff for the Hawks. Quick spike attempt, rejected, and UMass Boston has re-evened this affair at 4. Man, it doesn't get much tighter than this battle between these two squads. Beacons won the first set in what was the most one-sided set, 25-16. The visiting Hawks won the next 2 in close battles, and the Beacons came back in a close one in set 4. Here we are now in set 5. First to 15, 4-4 early on. And a good play made there as Houlihan is going to try to plead his case that coming over the net was Molly Quilty. Doesn't take a lot of effort for the 6'4" star to do that, but unfortunately, he won't get the call. It's 5-4. Punching this one over was Neff. Meanwhile, keeping it alive was Baker, sending it for Murphy. Murphy tries to block the soft attempt over the net. Here's Glavin keeping it alive. Quilty up in front. Instead, it's Batas sending it for Benson. Benson for Boyer. Boyer's blocked down there by Glavin on a good dig. And the Beacons eventually see this one come out of bounds as they re-even this one. UMass Boston and the Hawks of Roger Williams back and forth. It's 5-5. Speaking of 5s, Rachel Maslak, number 5 for the Beacons, comes back in, and she was the linchpin that saw the Beacons come back from a big deficit in set 4. She came in along with Sam Weiner on a substitution and got into that service area and didn't turn it over for a few serves. Unfortunately, this time she was out of position, and both she and Sam Weiner coalesced around a 6-5 deficit. Weiner out there with Maslak, Diedrich, Murphy, and in the back right now are Glavin and Shee. Here's the service from Boyer, who's played almost the entirety of this affair. Here is Murphy trying to get it over the netting. It's deflected back towards the Beacons, and a 7-5 advantage now for the Hawks of Roger Williams. Danielle Subler barks at her team, giving them the inspiration they need to try to close this one out. They are 8 points away from doing so as this one gets over the netting to be dug out by Glavin. Maslak sets up Diedrich, and a great spike from the Beacons freshman as she continues to find her positioning very adept on that side of the court. on that left side, going cross-court on the spike. She has been very strong. Let's hope that that strength can continue in the service area. Dug out by Boyer. Murphy going up for the block, nothing there. She sets it up for Maslak, who comes back towards Weiner, who two-hand fists this one over. And unfortunately for UMass Boston, they get called on that one. And a timeout for Terry Condon. So the Beacons trailing 8-6 here in set 5. Terry Condon's club unable to get things going early on. And unfortunately for UMass Boston, the cookie is going to have to crumble one way or another as the two sides switch sides halfway through set 5, as they do here in collegiate volleyball. It's more about giving each other no advantage. Both teams have to play even. And now the Beacons moving the other way. We'll see if that helps them out, and it does early on. Julia Murphy sends this one down in front of Maria Batas, and now the Beacons trail by just one, and Julia set to serve. So the Beacons, perhaps changing sides will help momentum. Batas keeps it alive on the dig. Here's Maslak looking for She. Pounding blast on the smash. Unfortunately, can't keep it alive as this one sent out of bounds, and we're evened up at 8 between the Beacons and the Hawks. The Beacons win this one. It'll be their 8th victory this season. Should be a big win for them, as this one is Murphy off the tip of the netting. And how about that? Came very dangerously close to an error. Instead, it's an ace. Sometimes the line is as fine as it can be here in women's collegiate volleyball. So the Beacons take a 9-8 advantage. First to 15 here in set number 4. A timeout on the court as Sublier wants to discuss things with her club. We'll be back for the conclusion of this affair. 9-8 Beacons on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Murphy getting set out of the timeout. Beacons leading 9-8 here in set 5. Murphy digs it out. Maslak setting up She, and a great blast on the spike by Eileen She. UMass Boston right back in front by 2. They lead it 10-8. First to 15 here in set 5. The Beacons trailed early on here in this set, but Julia Murphy has been the linchpin to lead them back. Great dig by Maslak, and can't get there was Murphy. Good effort by the Beacons. And now right back at it are the Hawks, narrowing their deficit to 1. 10-9 as number 9, Jackie Benson, gets set to serve. Benson's overhand service dug out by She. Maslak looking for Weiner, who is denied there on a smart play by Boyer. Punched out of the air by Glavin, and this one comes out of bounds, and it is evened up at 10. Both teams going back and forth. The next team to score 5 is going to win this match in what has been one of the more even played matches all year for UMass Boston. And there is an ace for Benson as it's 11-10. Hawks out in front, and Jackie coalesces around her teammates with her hands held high. They take an 11-10 lead, and Terry Condon wants a timeout. So the Beacons were up 10-8 coming off the last timeout. Things look to be moving in their favor. And, well, everything has come up Hawks since then. 3 consecutive points, and Jackie Benson's ace moments ago was the tip of the iceberg for a comeback that sees them on the verge, perhaps, of coming away with their 15th win of the season and first of this invitational. After the affair, if the Beacons win, we'll have the privilege of discussing that victory with Mike Houlihan. If they do succumb, I think Mike will have bigger issues on his hands, and we'll just discuss what happened during this invitational and get you set for a Saturday evening in Boston, Massachusetts. Hope you have your scarves and mittens on, because it is not warm anymore here in Beaconville. It may not be warm, but the Hawks are hot, and here's Benson getting set to turn up the temperature on the Beacons, who trail 11-10. Here's number 9 in blue, setting for the serve. Dug out there by Diedrich. Maslak looking for Shee, blocked in front. Coming back for Benson, having to get this over is Boyer. Dug out by Glavin. That's a tough play towards the bench. Maslak keeps it alive for Diedrich. Batas keeps it alive for Benson. Benson going for Megan Smith, and now here's Boyer on a good volley back and forth, and the Beacons will get this one in. We're evened up yet again, as pounding it home was Bree Souza right in front of Megan Smith, and a substitution will ensue. Colleen Cohen in for Rachel Maslak. 11-11 as it'll be Pepper Baker. Who else getting set to serve? She's been so good there, with the exception of her last opportunity where she committed her first error of the day. Here's Pepper getting set. This one right in front of Batas. Tough play. Good play by the libero. Here's Megan Smith getting it over. Diedrich digs it out. Baker looking to set up Cohen, who smashes it in, and a good defensive effort there by Benson keeps it alive. Boyer sending it out of bounds, and UMass Boston has taken a 12-11 lead. I tell you what, it's a decent crowd here for this one, and I don't think any of these fans have any fingernails left after the Beacons have tiptoed through disaster all afternoon long. They're close to getting a victory here, 12-11. Here's Boyer, and the fans wanted a call there. They won't get it. And this one's tipped by Cohen and through. UMass Boston takes a 13-11 lead here late in set number 5. Pepper Baker, what else is new? The rally starter from the service area. And Danielle Sublier says, timeout, RWU. We'll go to one more break here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. When we come back, we'll have the finale of this, the final matchup between these two teams here in the Beacons Invitational.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Beacons leading 13-11. Just 2 points away from getting an important victory and salvaging a 2-2 split here in this tournament. Late substitution out of the timeout, as making her first appearance will be junior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Brittany McMullen. Pepper Baker, what a rally starter she is, as she sends this one towards Maria Batas. This one kept alive now to come back towards Boyer, and oh, what a break for UMass Boston. At first, it looked like they kept it alive, but the referees do signal point for the Hawks. Big break for the Hawks as it hit the top of the netting and just died right in front of the Beacons defense led by Bree Souza. So now it's 13-12, and McAniff getting set to serve. She was brilliant there last time. Glavin sets up Baker for a smash attempt there by Cohen, but it's dug out there by Battis as this one is driven into the ground on a spike there by number 14, Rachel Neff. And now all of a sudden, tied up again in another timeout as Terry Condon's club wants to discuss it one more time. I'm telling you, it feels like the last 2 minutes of an NBA game with these timeouts. Back and forth they go. And right now, I don't blame them for wanting to discuss things. 13-13, the next team to score 2, barring each of them scoring 1, will win this match. It's been a really good one for the fans and for those listening and watching at home. Beacons won set 1, 25-16. They lost set 2, 25-22. They lost set 3, 25-21, and it looked like their backs were against the wall, trailing by 5 late in the set of set 4. But they came screaming back and have really their destiny in their own hands here. After coming back to win set 4, an opportunity now where the first to 2 will win set 5. Teams are back out on the court, ready to go. Beacons will counter with Cohen, Souza, Diedrich, Murphy, no Murphy, it's Glavin, Shee, and Baker. Surprised not to see Julia out there. Usual lineup out here with the exception of Brittany McMullen out there for Sublier and the Hawks. Here's McAniff's serve. It's dug out by Glavin. Baker setting up Shee, blocked down in front, and it's a set point, a game point, a match point for the visiting Hawks. A chance for the Hawks to win this one with one more successful serve from Sarah McAniff. Here she goes. And dug out by Glavin. Baker keeps it alive. She can't get there. And the visiting Hawks of Roger Williams have come back to defeat the UMass Boston Beacons by a final of 3-2. I tell you what, folks, it doesn't get much more exciting than that. A roller coaster ride of a volleyball match back and forth between both of these very vaunted foes over and over. The Beacons got the early advantage in set one, dominating their opponents to the tune of a 25-16 win. But ever since that opening set, it was much, much closer than we expected. The visiting Hawks winning the next two sets, 25-23 and 25-22, followed by a 25-20 fourth set victory that sent it to this, an exciting fifth set that ended 15-13 Hawks. Let's take a look at the highlights here between these two very good foes as the Beacons fall 3-2 in this, the finale of the Beacon Invitational. Early on, it was the Beacons getting denied by the defense. A good play there by Boyer to block Shee. And that resulted in Roger Williams gaining early momentum. A smash there got them out to a 4-3 advantage. The Beacons then turned up the defense themselves. Julia Murphy blocking that one down, and UMass Boston was right back in at 5-5. The Roger Williams Hawks then continued to play well offensively as you saw Benson smash that one in for a spike and a kill. How about Haley Diedrich on both sides of the ball doing it with her strength? Meanwhile, Murphy getting the job done on that kill. Unfortunately, after the teams changed sides, things started to slow down a bit. She with a beautiful smash, but an ace there by Roger Williams. Comes back for a Beacons block right there by Bree Souza, and the Beacons were right back in it. Colleen Cohen showed that she has strength and precision, laying that one in between the defense. And then finally, the smash here by Roger Williams that turned the momentum. This being right here the winner as Glavin knocks this one down. And Pepper couldn't get it to Shee without getting whistled for the foul. So the Beacons, a tough defeat as they lose both of the matches today. The opener 3-0. This, the finale, 3-2 as they fall to the visiting Hawks of Roger Williams University. So the Beacons fall in this one by that final score. Why don't we go to a commercial break here on the post-game show? When we come back, we'll wrap things up with a bow, take a look at the statistics, leaders, and say thanks to the production crew that spent a long afternoon here on Beaconville. We'll be back right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
My name's Allie Greenberg. I'm an ice hockey player here. I'm a junior, majoring in human services, and I'm part of the Key for Hope Foundation. We recycle the keys and stock food pantries with the money. I wanted to bring this foundation to the athletic department, and I believe we can end hunger starting at UMass Boston. I got started with the Key for Hope Foundation due to my father. He's the one who founded this program.
I said, what can I do with a classroom environment giving back? And everybody's got an old key, and keys are made of brass, and brass is a recyclable commodity. And thinking about how many children are in a school system and how far we can go with taking this to do something right for humanity, I started a foundation called Key for Hope, feeding others with the collecting of keys. In 2.5 years, we collected over 500,000 keys. And I'm excited about this whole opportunity because you know what? One key may not seem like much to most people, but when you collect the masses of keys that we've collected, it shows that there is an ability for people to get together and create what I'm considering our hunger-fighting opportunity.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town, UMass Boston. Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
So a tough afternoon to be a Beacons fan. They fall 3-0 in their opener this afternoon against Bowdoin. And then after having an early advantage against the Hawks of Roger Williams, a team many believed they were apt to defeat, they end up losing in an exciting fifth set by the final of 15-13 and 3-2 overall. So the Beacons unable to come away with a victory here on Saturday of the Beacons Invitational. Thankfully, they did get a win yesterday against Clark University, so they avoid the dreaded 4-game sweep at their own Invitational. Let's take a look at the final stats here for UMass Boston and, of course, the visiting Hawks of Roger Williams. The Hawks improved to 15-11, and as you'd expect in a 15-13 fifth set victory, it was a very close matchup, not only on the scoreboard, but also in the statistical categories. Beacons won both kills and hits by a combined cumulative score of 3. Meanwhile, digs were narrow as can be, as well as blocks and aces, all separated by 2 or less. My goodness, talk about an even matched match, no pun intended, as both these teams come out of this one with, unfortunately for the Beacons, a disappointing defeat, and fortunately for the Hawks, a very impressive win. Meanwhile, we take a look at the team leaders. Julia Murphy, she didn't play much in the fifth set. I was a bit surprised by that, especially out of the timeout when things were tied up at 13. I don't know how much that hurt the Beacons, but she certainly had a strong performance. And how about Molly Quilty? It's daunting when you go out there and you see a player. Most of the players on the Beacons, 5'8" or shorter, and you have Molly Quilty out there standing at a Lisa Leslie-esque 6'4". And she certainly backed up that size advantage. 14 kills today, almost a 35% hitting percentage. And she also led the way for the Hawks with 3 blocks. She was everything and more for Danielle Soublier and her squad. And you can't ask for much more from a team leader like Quilty this afternoon. For the Beacons, Elizabeth Glavin, again, great performance in the dig category with 22. Unfortunately for the Beacons, though, she couldn't get things going in the service area, as it was Murphy who led the way with 3 aces. As we wrap things up here on the post-game show, let's take a look at what's up ahead for the UMass Boston Beacons. Coming out of this invitational, they'll get set to reconvene with Little East Conference play this Tuesday when they take on a very talented Little East Conference foe from UMass Dartmouth. The Corsairs head on into Beaconville. Corsairs got swept in 3 sets earlier today by Eastern Connecticut State, so perhaps the Beacons can continue that unfortunate nosedive for the Corsairs. The LEC tournament is coming up shortly. Dates and times will be to be determined right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. As always, I want to thank my production team who came on out for a long afternoon of volleyball action. It was a lot of waiting around between the 11 a.m. match that ended in about 40 minutes and the 3 p.m. match that didn't start until 40 minutes after it was supposed to begin. But here we are, about 6 hours later, 6.5 hours after the opening of our broadcast. No rest for the weary for my boys out here. Seth Orensky, the producer, always running back and forth like a chicken with his head cut off, but he gets it done nonetheless. Carl Poss and Jose Pena, as always, doing a great job as the directors. Alice Carasato doing a great job with the instant replay, as also the scripts on the instant replay. Dunkachino, Smash, that's all his action. I'm not that creative. Great job by Alex. And, of course, our camera operators, Roxanne Vento, Chris Fowler, and Steve Consiglio. They may have brought up the rear of the broadcast, but they were front, out, and center, and without them, we couldn't have done it. As always, thank you guys for joining us on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. So the Beacons, they go 1-3 in the Invitational, 0-2 today, but for some reason, you come out of this with your head held high. It was a great matchup against Roger Williams. The Hawks just flied a little higher than the Beacons could shine their lights this afternoon. For everyone involved in the broadcast, as always, I'm John Skudris. We'll have a big matchup on Friday as the men's ice hockey team gets set to kick off their regular season against Curry College. Tune into that one beginning just before 7 p.m. right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Until next time, I'm John Skudris. Good night, good luck, and great volleyball, folks. Good night from the Beacons Broadcasting Network.